Halston is fabulous. Halston made me cry. And Halston is extremely graphic. We're talking NC-17 graphic. I think you should know that going in, just so you know what you're getting into. Now, you might wonder why producer Ryan Murphy, well, I think we kind of know why Ryan Murphy would do it. He has a reputation for trying to be very provocative and titillating with his work. Although I have to say, I don't think Ryan Murphy, I've never seen a Ryan Murphy project this graphic. I don't watch American Horror Story, so you'll have to tell me who wins that race if you watch both. But you know, so I'm not surprised that Ryan Murphy did it, to be honest with you. I mean, it's even more out there than Hollywood. Hollywood talked about stuff more than actually showed it, whereas this show does. So, but while I understand Ryan Murphy making that choice, you know, I think you would question why the creative team of Char White, Daniel Minahan, and Netflix, who's releasing it, why they would make that creative choice, because it does limit the show's audience. It's not all ages material. As I said, again, it's NC-17. It's not even R-rated, it's NC-17. Well, I think they made that choice because that's the life that Halston led. And it's that personal life, you'll see when you watch the show, which I think you should, which collided head-on with his professional life. I mean, it had huge ramifications. It's a part of him. I don't think it can be left out if you want to have a complete portrayal. Although, on that note, I don't think that it is actually a complete portrayal of that specific aspect of his life. I don't think the show goes as far as it should. I think that they make it seem that it's just salacious when a lot of people in that time period were involved in the Studio 54 lifestyle. For instance, Andy Warhol. And while you'd never know it from watching this show, Halston and his lover Victor Hugo were actually very close with Andy Warhol, not just personally, but they also worked with him as well. But he's only mentioned once here and we never see him. You'd never know how close the relationship was. But don't Google it, because I did. And Andy Warhol and Victor Hugo, let's just say I never knew that Andy Warhol took pictures like that. But he did, and they're easily accessible on Google. Now, the only celebrity that they actually show here, I mean, they name drop a few, but Halston, like many of the designers today, knew many celebrities very well because he was dressing them. But yet here, we only see Krista Rodriguez's Liza Minnelli. Now, full disclosure, I am not a Liza Minnelli fan. So I guess Rodriguez did a real good job because I had trouble sitting through her musical numbers as Liza Minnelli as well. I was tempted to even fast forward them. There's just two, but boy, they were real Liza Minnelli-y. However, I will say that Liza Minnelli here has the best awards display case in her bedroom that I've ever seen. I'm like, everyone should display their awards that way. Like usually people are like, oh, I have it some silly place in my house. I'm like, no. This is the way to do it. It's incredible. It's like a little museum. And speaking of Google, I tried to see if Liza Minnelli actually had her awards set up that way at some point, but I could not find out if that were true. So even if the production designer just dreamed this up, then they did a fantastic job. The production design on this show is fantastic. Now, while I'm not a Liza Minnelli fan, as many of you know, I could not be a bigger Ewan McGregor fan. And this is the Ewan McGregor show. So, oh boy! He shines here he burns as brightly, I think is the best way to put it, as Halston did. Now, another warning, this show is not as energetic as that amazing trailer. When that trailer dropped, I was so taken by it. I must have watched it about 5 or 6 times. I wish I'd been able to do a reaction, but they dropped it the day of the Marvel stuff. I was like, oh, are you kidding me? Why would you do this? It was incredible. And so I immediately wrote to Netflix and I was like, give them to me. And they gave them to me at midnight and I started watching them at midnight. As soon as they hit my inbox, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. So they were a little less energetic than the trailer, so I did not watch them in a single sitting. I made it a 2-night event. I started at midnight and I watched the first 3, and then I watched the final 2. It's just 5, and so the show moves very quickly. You could watch it in a day if you wanted to, but again, it's a lot. It's a lot emotionally. As I said, it made me cry. I felt so, we'll talk about that. So moving. Give Ewan McGregor all the awards, or at least nominations. He's so incredible here. But I think, you know, it's a really strong 2-night event. You know, I think they would make many of you very happy. So in just 5 episodes, at first, again, I was a little disappointed when it started that it wasn't as energetic as the trailer. I don't think the song choices were as strong. The editing's not as sharp. So I was like, it's not as good as the trailer. But I have to say, when we got to the final episode, I found myself breaking into full-on tears several times because the show made me not only relate to Halston as an artist trying to make it in the business world, you know that's my favorite subject, art meets business, but I also came to think of him in a way as my own friend. I really did. He burned so brightly and beautifully, and his downfall was so tragic. I was so incredibly moved. They got me good. It was so good. So it's because it's not only a credit to Ewan McGregor, but the whole team. They really got me. I mean, it was a journey, and by the end of it, I couldn't believe where they had gotten me to. So I would describe Halston as Mad Men meets The Boys in the Band, which is from Ryan Murphy, and I really enjoyed both of those. If you like Mad Men and Boys in the Band, you will also be in entertainment heaven. I feel that, again, it would have been great if they could have captured the same energy as the trailer, but I can't really complain because I connected to the material so strongly. I mean, if it got that kind of an emotional reaction from me and stuck with me, I liked it, as I did. One of the things I really liked about the show is that it's the historical aspect of it. This is, again, as I said, based on a true story, even though they do leave some stuff out. But it's based on a true story, and a lot of it is shot on location. And as a New Yorker, I particularly enjoyed it. I mean, I was the Leonardo DiCaprio meme for a good part of the show. I was like, that's really Bergdorf Goodman where they filmed those scenes, and that's where Halston launched his career. Now, as the show progressed, I was shocked to see how successful Halston became, how many barriers he broke down to become the first household name fashion designer. And as his star soared, I wondered to myself, that's one of the things that kept me going watching the show, even though I was a little disappointed in the lack of energy. I was like, how could I never have heard of this guy? Or of the incredible events he was involved in. There was like some fashion showdown in Paris, and they're talking during they're like, this is gonna go down in history. And I'm like, I'm from the future. I never heard of it. And I'm not like someone who studies fashion, but I'm aware of it. I think I would have heard of this event. It's weird to see Halston and everyone else, the whole world, thinking they're changing, the world, that these are world life-changing events, and that like just 50 years later, like almost no one's heard of the guy. I mean, that's incredible to me. And the show actually answers that question. That was amazing. Ewan McGregor, again, is a tour de force. He is fun. He is bitchy. He is a genius. He is basically, he's also, by the way, someone who does not understand business, which is, as you'll see, a big part of his downfall. I was like, the whole time I was like, I can't believe Halston didn't have a manager or an agent. I was like, where's your agent? Why is no one helping you? It was weird. But he's basically playing Black Mask here meets Don Draper. And again, I loved every second of it. He just was it was a command performance. And again, I came to feel in just about 5 hours that I knew his Halston personally. Again, he felt like both a friend and like someone who like you could relate to. I really emotionally connected with him. Bill Pullman is also excellent as his business partner who tries to guide Halston as best he can, but he's not Halston's agent. Vera Farmiga also has a very effective one-episode cameo. They don't even credit her in the show, in the episodes. I was like, that's Vera Farmiga. Wow. I'll just say she's a woman who helps Halston develop a perfume, and that's all I'll say about it. You have to watch the episode. The whole cast is very good, as you would expect. I also liked David, I particularly liked Halston's entourage. Joel Schumacher was a part of this entourage, interestingly enough, although it's so fleeting here, and I thought that it's one of the Culkins who plays him, Rory Culkin. I thought he only did a medium job. One of the least talented Culkins, apparently. But I liked David Pittu, I liked Sullivan Jones, and I thought Rebecca Dayan was very good, who's actually playing a woman who went on to become quite famous herself, and it was incredible to see that she actually got her start with Halston. In fact, you won't even know how successful she became watching this show. This show leaves a lot out, so it's really good. It'll get you into Halston, but I really encourage you to Google, not the images, but the people afterwards to actually learn just how far-reaching this is. Now, Gianfranco Rodriguez makes for a very convincing Victor Hugo, but I gotta tell you, he's so convincing that he is as tragic and unfortunate as Victor Hugo was in real life, and I really wish that Halston had never met him. And it's an interesting lesson about who you fall in love with. I mean, it was really interesting, and I do hope that Halston's mistakes in life, both personal and professional, serve as a warning to others. So the NC-17 stuff, I'm like, there are a lot of young people who I think, who are just getting started in life who could really learn from this, get some important life lessons, but they can't because it's NC-17. So I don't know, maybe a responsible adult could, edit it for them. I mean, there's really, really important stuff here about anyone considering a career where arts meets business. I mean, it's really important stuff. It's very, very good. But then also, I hope this series helps his incredible legacy be remembered, because I can't believe how successful he was, and most of us have never heard of this man. It would be like if everyone suddenly forgot Calvin Klein. Wouldn't that be weird? It's weird. You gotta watch this show. So Halston is without a doubt a knockout, but it totally snuck up on me. So that's my review of Halston, which hit Netflix today. Again, it's just 5 episodes. Share your thoughts down below. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.